All right, folks, what's going on? Good morning. Put a one in the chat if y'all can hear me clearly. Also, let me know if my volume is a little too loud so I can make some adjustments there. And also let me know if the music is too loud. All right. Just give me 1 second, just sorting some things out here. And boom, all right. All right, the music is a tad bit too loud. All right, is that better? Let me know if that's better. Let me know if the music is still too loud. Put some ones in the chat if my sound is clear. We see a few ones in the chat so far. Music is good. All right, there we go. I just did a video about the overnight oats. Well, not a video about overnight oats, but clarifying some things about oats and phytic acid and whatnot. And this right here is been a real staple in my diet, the overnight oats, right? So folks have kind of asked me to clarify some things about the overnight oats. So basically, I soak the overnight oats in water overnight, right? So this is 5 ounces of overnight oats that I've soaked in water overnight, right? So these sprouting jars are porous on the top, right? So that allows me to drain out the water without dumping out the oats as well, right? So initially, when I first put the oats in the jar, I then fill up the jar with water and I rinse the oats a few times, right? I pretty much do this with everything. I do this with rice, quinoa, I do it with the lentils or, you know, any type of legumes that I do, that type of thing. I do it with kasha, that, right? So then I have the rack that I drip dry it with. Now leave it like that. This jar also has feet on it, so you could just put it straight down, right? So I let it sit like that. So I'm gonna let the excess water drip out, and then I'm gonna add in my ingredients and whatnot to it afterwards. All right. What's going on? We got Kim in here. What's going on? Miss D. We got my mama in here. Z. What's going on? Big shout out to you tuning in from Hawaii. Marcel. What's going on? Good morning. Spiritually Unchained. Good morning. Got my man Mark in here. Alia. What's going on? Good morning. Look at that. Got a good I can't talk. Got a good bit of folks tuning in here. Agnes, what's going on? One of the day one riders tuning in. Good morning. All right. So for those of you, y'all know how I get down. I got to do some fruit bags, but I got to prep other things for the week also. So I usually keep a couple bags of my grapes in here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with a few oranges. So I keep a bag of citrus. So we're gonna do a little bit of a half and half here. So I'm gonna do 1 bag with the tangerines and 1 bag with the grapes, and then I got to do cantaloupe. So yeah, definitely, how y'all weekend go to so far? All right, let me know how y'all weekend was. We had Halloween that just passed. Today is what? November 2nd? My birthday's in 2 days. Look at that, my birthday's coming up in a bit, huh? I'm gonna be 39 years old. I forget what my age is sometimes, you know. But yeah, so I don't think about my age much. So when somebody asks me, oh, how old are you gonna be? And I'm like, I'm gonna be, and I kind of have like a little bit of a pause. But yeah, 39. So I'm only 1 year away from 40. So I'm just eyeballing it here. But yeah, pretty much I typically do like 3 of these at a time, of these fruit bags. And I eyeball it because I do half and half. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we're dropping grapes. Oh. You said you don't forget my age? Yeah, you don't. Yeah, I do. Because the way that I experience age, I don't know if everybody else experiences it that way, but I don't feel like a difference in my age. You know, like some people say, oh man, I'm feeling my age. I feel like I'm getting older. I don't feel that. So there's not like a difference from 1 year to the next for me. I don't really notice a difference. Right? So it's kind of like frozen in time. I don't feel like, oh, my knees or, oh, I don't have as much energy as I used to. I don't feel that. So I can't really tell. So it's like, yeah, my age is increasing as far as calendar year, as far as round trip around the sun, but I don't really feel any of that. All right. I don't have like, oh man, I'm dealing with stubborn body fat that's so difficult to get rid of, or I feel like my libido is declining, or I don't feel any of that. You know, all of those hallmark signs that people tend to feel when they're getting older. All right, so that's one. And now we fill the rest with the citrus. You said today is the 3rd? Oh, today is the 3rd. Look at that. I feel tomorrow's my birthday. Look at that. Stacy, what's going on? I appreciate you. Look at that. I'm over here. I don't know why I was thinking it's the 2nd today. Look at that. All right. Fair enough. Look at that. Not only losing track of my age, but losing track of the days and the time. I'm not losing track of the time because I show up to the stream on time. So, yeah. But for me, it's a very interesting term that I hear that I didn't realize how many people use this term. The term is biohacking, right? People use this term biohacking. Biohacking is not a real thing, right? It's a good sales term, right? Like, buy my book that teaches biohacking. You know, there's no such thing really as biohacking, right? Like you can't change your biology. It's not, your biology is not some code and you hacked into it and changed it, right? That's not really how it is. You either live a healthy lifestyle that gives you good health outcomes or you don't, right? And depending on how diligent you are with a healthy lifestyle, a lifestyle particularly that's geared towards reducing oxidative stress as much as possible in order to slow down or pretty much inhibit aging. That's what it is, right? So for example, if I have, you know, a diet that is mostly made up of raw foods, fruits, leafy greens, nuts and seeds, you know, I'm exercising consistently, but I'm not overdoing it with the exercise. I'm getting to bed at a decent time, getting good quality sleep. I'm getting in my herbs. I'm very consistently drinking my herbal teas and things like that, right? I'm doing intelligent supplementation of things like vitamin D, zinc, magnesium. There's not a whole lot of things you need to supplement with. Maybe some B12 drops, this type of thing. By the way, with the B12 drops, if you decide to do liquid B12, like I'm a big fan of, I don't really suggest B12 like capsules and things like that. I like the B12 liquid drops. If you're going to do the B12 liquid drops, ideally, you would want to keep it in your mouth under your tongue and let it dissolve in your tongue. The capsules, they basically hit your stomach. And so it may not be that potent when going through the digestive process of your stomach. Right? So that's a quick little tip there. So, but yeah, so biohacking is not really like a thing. You can have intelligent supplementation, right? There are certain types of supplements that I would recommend, like creatine being one of them, citrulline being another, and then taurine, right? Taurine is actually a really good amino acid for reducing aging because it inhibits oxidative stress, particularly on your nervous system and vascular tissues, right? So taurine is like really good for that. It's really good for the repair of your endothelial layer of your cardiovascular tissue, right? So taurine is really good for that, right? So if you've had like some pretty extensive vascular damage, you may want to supplement with taurine. So doing anywhere from like 4 to 8 grams a day or something like this. For most people, it's going to be in between 4 to 6 grams a day, but you know, and it would be more along the lines of 6 to 8. For women, it's like around 4 to 6. So you can do 2 grams twice a day, or you can do 2 grams 3 times a day, or 4 times a day. So like the easiest way to do it, and taurine doesn't have a taste, right? So you can basically put 2 grams of it in like 4 ounces of water or something like that and drink it down. That's like the easiest way to do taurine. And it's really good to do, ideally, it's good to do on a fasting plan, right? I wouldn't pair it with food because it competes with other resources in your food. I especially wouldn't pair it with high protein foods, right? Because it competes with other things. I believe it competes with beta alanine and it competes with what else is it called? Acetylcholine, I think. And there's another thing, I'm blanking on the name, but there's a few other amino acids that it competes with for absorption. So if you're doing like an alternate day fasting plan, so this is the citrus and grape bag that I do. And now the next one, ooh, this apple's got a bad spot in it. So yeah, so basically in a fasting plan, I would do the taurine. So if you're doing like 24 or 36-hour fast, something like that, supplementation is probably like the best, most ideal thing to do during like extensive fasting, right? So in a fasted state, you don't have certain things competing for absorption, right? So that can be really beneficial. So that's where it's easier to do the supplementation of the taurine, for example, during a fast. Taurine is found significantly in animal products, but the problem is that you lose a lot of it. You lose most of it in the cooking process. So on paper, you have animal products that will have a good bit of taurine in it, but the thing is that you're not eating the meat raw, so you're losing a lot of the taurine in the cooking process. People lose, this is another reason why I'm a big fan of like a raw diet in the first place, because you can have a food that will be high in certain nutrients, like for example, iron, right? But you lose a lot of the iron in the cooking process because the iron is highly susceptible to being destroyed or oxidized in the cooking process, right? So you're not getting as much as you think. So it's real interesting because, most people who have an iron deficiency eat animal products. It's not vegans that have an iron deficiency. This part of the apple's like really compromised. I'm gonna have to get another apple. So with your raw foods, you're getting more of the nutrients from your raw foods because you're not destroying the nutrients in the cooking process. Now, you do have fiber, and fiber binds to the nutrients in your foods, but that's to prevent the over or excessive absorption. But basically, your body takes what it needs for the most part. The only time you can really have like nutrient absorption issues in your gut is if your gut health is poor. So some people, their gut health isn't really that great. You may have low stomach acid. You may have low digestive enzymes, and so therefore, you can have like actual holes in your gut. You can have things like Crohn's and colitis, things like this, where if you're having issues like that, well, that's a different story, right? Well, then you would need to focus on building your gut microbiome, right? So there are some nuances there. So in that case, I would say that it would be a good idea to have more fermented foods in your diet, to supplement with a probiotic supplement, and probably pair that probiotic supplement with digestive enzymes, right? And then you can eat things like pineapple and papaya together. So you can do like a half and half pineapple and papaya. And those are good for increasing digestive enzymes. Cali girl, what's going on? For an extended fast, like a 72-hour fast, how often would you suggest doing one? Yeah, so basically, if you're gonna do like a 3-day fast, it depends on why you're doing it, but I think like when you're doing a 3-day fast, I think a good recommendation for a 3-day fast is probably, it depends on what the goal is, because you could do it once a month, right? So you can do a 3-day fast once a month, which is pretty aggressive, or you can do a 3-day fast once every 3 months. It depends on what your goal is. It depends on why you're doing the fast. Ultimately, the main reason why you should be fasting is for health reasons, right? That's the primary reason why you would do a fast. A lot of people think like, oh, it's really good for weight loss. And like it is, but it's not really good for weight loss in the way that you think. Fasting is really good for weight loss because of the detoxification of it, right? And the very positive benefits that it can have on your gut health. Pretty much every aspect of your health, right? But that's also very circumstantial too, because you can lose a lot of weight through fasting. And then when you start eating again, you can gain back a lot of the weight that you lost. Right? So that's the thing also to be aware of. So yeah, it depends on why you're doing it. Somebody asked me too about breatharians. They said, what do you think about breatharians? I'm not that familiar with the breatharian methodology. I'm not really particularly bought in. Because it's like, well, how long are you going without food as a breatharian? And the reason why is because you can't really survive on oxygen, right? Because you need carbon and you need nitrogen in your body. And what happens is whenever you breathe, oxygen enters your body, and then that oxygen gets used, and then you get something called carbon dioxide, right? So the carbon in your body gets oxidized and then gets released out of your body when you exhale. So if you're not eating food, well, what are you replacing? What are you replacing the carbon with? The carbon that you're losing from not eating. What are you replacing the carbon with? You can't get the carbon in your oxygen when you breathe in. Right? You're not getting it that way. All right, so these are the two. So I got grapes and apples and grapes and tangerines. So I'm putting those away in the fridge for later. And I got a cantaloupe here. Well, this cantaloupe is all lumpy and whatnot. This cantaloupe got beat up. They got beat up. So yeah, somebody asked me about that. I thought it was very interesting. And then also, what do you replace? Because you can't get nitrogen in your body through oxygen either, right? Through inhalation, you can't get it through water, through drinking water either, right? Because oxygen is just oxygen, and then water is just H2O, right? So it's hydrogen and oxygen. But you still need the carbon and nitrogen substrate in order to hold your cells intact in your body or build new cells, right? So you still need carbon and nitrogen as the substrate. Otherwise, basically what's going to happen is your body's going to shrink and shrink and shrink. You're going to keep losing the carbon infrastructure in your body. And so you're going to get like you're going to get a breakdown of your DNA in your body from not having the carbon needed in order to maintain your structure. So I don't know if anybody is a breatharian who sees this, you may want to reach out to me and kind of explain that whole thing to me of how that works. All right? You don't need much nitrogen. You do need a lot of carbon, though. All right. Yeah, this cantaloupe smells good though, so I think it's nice and ripe. It's gonna be a good tasting one because I can smell it really good. So I got these seeds. It's the next batch of seeds to take out to the woods. I basically collect all of the fruit peels and the seeds and the rind and all of that, and I bring it out to the woods rather than just throwing it all in the garbage. Kershey, what's going on? Finally catching a live stream. Thank you for everything you do. Absolutely. I keep telling you, brother, you gotta reach out to me. You gotta check in with me on the platform. Let me know how things have been going with you. That's right. Send me a quick message. Let me know. You know. I got to start doing my thing too. One thing I've been meaning to do with y'all, those of you who've had a lot of success in the tribe, is we get together and do like an interview of your success and experiences and everything like that on the program. So I would think that'd be kind of cool. I did that a couple times. I haven't been doing it too much. That's the thing I can be a little bit better about. All right, so we got the seeds here. So I'm gonna bag that up. So when I head out to the spot today. Oh, you started fasting 1 day a week again? Oh, really? How's the fast going so far this time? You posted holiday fruit cookies in the disc. Fruit cookies? Interesting. I gotta check that out. I'll put that in the Discord. Oh, okay. There you go. How have y'all been finding it to stay raw, or at least high raw, during the winter? How's that been going with y'all? Y'all been getting some good fruits and whatnot? Y'all been able to make? Because you know too, what's coming up is Thanksgiving and all of that. So that's going to be a real trying time for folks, right? So you'll be real interested to know how that's going with y'all. All right. This cantaloupe is pretty much like one meal. That's what this is going to be. Cantaloupe are a lot smaller than honeydew. They typically like 2 pounds, which is like, it's a little less than 400 calories. All right. As far as calorie counting is concerned. one cantaloupe is like what, 8 to 10 grams of protein. It's like 80, 86 grams of carbs, something like this. But this is like a really good source of beta carotene, which your body uses to make vitamin A. So, cantaloupe is one of those things that you should definitely find room for in your diet if they're available. So like, for example, with hair growth, right? Skin texture, complexion, vitamin A is like really important for all those things. Hormonal balance, progesterone production, testosterone. Vitamin A is really important for all of that kind of stuff. Maintaining the elasticity of your vascular tissues. So yeah, cantaloupe is one of my go-tos for that, because I get a lot of comments on my skin. People are like, oh, his skin is perfect and all this type of stuff. I don't think my skin's perfect, but I do pretty well with it. And I don't do really much as far as skin treatment is concerned. It's interesting though, because I may have to talk more about skin treatment in the future. I'm not like a dermatologist or anything like that, but there are some nuances to it. I've learned some things as far as diet. Even like we overestimate how much we need to wash our faces. Like we tend to wash our face too much, or we scrub and exfoliate a bit too much. You don't really want to be doing that, especially if you're black. If you're a melanated person, you don't want to be going crazy on your skin like that either, because all of that scrubbing and carrying on in your skin can agitate your melanocytes. So this is how you get things like hyperpigmentation and whatnot. So you want to be careful about that, because you can end up drying out your skin and whatnot. So if you're a melanated person, one thing you don't want to do is agitate your skin, and you don't want to dry out your skin. Right? You don't want dry anything. Right? So you'll have people who are more of more European descent, have more sebum, right? So you have more oily skin, right? Or like if you're Asian, depending on what part of Asia you come from, because you have melanated Asian people too, it's a bit different. But if you're a less melanated person, you tend to have more oily skin, right? But us as black folks, melanated people, we ain't really oily like that. So it's easy for us to get a bit dried out, right? So, cultural staples for us be things like coconut butter and shea butter and all of this. You know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to be ashy. We ain't trying to be out here being dry, right? We don't do that. So when I'm talking about water rich and all that, that's more of like a cultural lens. We don't do this dry, ashy. We don't do that. We got to keep it moist. You know what I'm saying? We got to be well looked. Ricardo, what's going on? You said it's so hard to eat fruits during the cold season. My body suffers with fruits or anything cold. Oh, you have to eat more hot meals because of your condition. Is this something you just recently found out? I hear you too, because in this season, like, yeah, you still have the fruits. Like, I know for me, I still have the fruits in my diet. Fruits are still like a big part of my diet, but I do incorporate more savory stuff though, right? Particularly at night. So I've been hitting like the chickpeas, and I've been hitting the lentils. That's like a staple for me. So I've been doing my lentil soup and my curry soup and all this. So I still do all of that. But so, I hear you. It ain't got to be fruit all day necessarily, especially as it gets colder. By the way, Ricardo, you got to give me an update on how this stuff has been going with you What were you growing in the yard? I think you said you were growing mango, you were growing avocado. What else were you growing? I'm be interested to know how that stuff is coming along. LaShawn, what's going on? LaShawn from the DMV, representing the DMV. What's going on? I want to see if today, and I'm trying to be more cognizant of the time, but I want to do like a quick sweet potato. Sweet potato. I got sweet potato, and one thing I like to do with the sweet potato, these Japanese yams, is I like to make a sweet potato souffle. So I actually want to do that this morning. I probably should have started that earlier, but I'm over here running my mouth and completely forgot. And this is more. I don't do it often this way. I do one with protein powder in it and one without protein powder in it. I'm not sure how I want to do this one, but I think I'm going to do this one without protein powder in it. I don't think I'm going to put protein powder in this one, or if I do, I may just put like a scoop. And I gotta see. I gotta see how much I'm making. All right. So we got, I feel like I want to cut these into smaller pieces. So I'll do this here. Because when I cut it into smaller pieces, I can fit more of it in the bag. I kind of miss alternate day fasting. Like the thing with the alternate day fasting is so much easier on your schedule because you don't have to do as much meal prep. Like when I'm eating every day, I feel like I'm just eating all the time. Like say, like when I'm eating consistently, like like a lot of my day revolves around food. You know. I feel like a lot of my day just revolves around eating. I'm either eating food or prepping food or going to get food. I'm always doing something food related. I don't know what the verdict is on that, but that's for me personally. It's not a complaint, but it is a bit complicated. But then again, I don't know. I do it so much, or I have so much of a focus on food because I like food. I don't have many vices as a I don't really have any vices as a person, to be quite honest. But food is definitely one. I don't know if you could really consider food to be a vice, but I used to be big into video games. I haven't had a video game console in a long time. I haven't had a video game console in like 8 years or something like this. So that's one bag of cantaloupe. So this next one, I'm gonna do, oh, I'll put the grapes away. I'm gonna do grapes and cantaloupe. Well, actually, no. That's not what I'm going to do. Because I got kiwis, y'all. I got 4 kiwis here. So I'm gonna do kiwi. The cervical instability has a lot to do with it. Until I get it corrected, I believe. You can eat lots of fruit. Gotcha, okay. All right. Yeah, these golden kiwis they are always on point. It's nature's candy right here. I don't think I've ever paired cantaloupe and kiwi before. But I'm gonna do it this time. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the kiwi on the bottom of the bag and I'm gonna put the cantaloupe on top because the kiwi is a bit sweeter than the cantaloupe. Cantaloupe is actually pretty low on the glycemic index. It's not like a really high fructose fruit. It's just mostly water, which is also why I think fruits like cantaloupe are really good for blood sugar management. Right, you're not gonna get like crazy blood sugar spikes from eating melon. Right, so like your honeydew, your cantaloupe, watermelon, things like that, you're not gonna get like kiwis too. Kiwis are not really gonna give you a crazy blood sugar spike either. So for example, grapes are actually sweeter often than cantaloupe. So when I put together like these fruit bags, the sweetest fruit on the bottom, and I put the one that's the least sweet on top. Because you don't want to eat the most sweet one first and then eat the least sweet one second, because then when you eat the least sweet one afterwards, it's going to taste even less sweet. It may not taste like anything, right? So that's also like a little strategy there that you may want to think about when putting together these bags of fruit, these little mini bags of fruit. So yeah, basically we do like 4 of these kiwis here. You can eat the skin of kiwis too. I just don't like eating the skin of kiwis personally. But the fiber, it's a lot of fiber though. So like the fiber can actually be really good if you eat the kiwi skin. I just don't like doing it. I don't like the texture of it. And then after this, I'm gonna see about cutting up some sweet potato and steaming that for a bit. I'm gonna show y'all how I do that. But I gotta be mindful of the time, right? Look at that. Oh man, it's 9:48, huh? Time flies when you're having fun, ain't it? All right, last one. Yeah, by the way, if y'all have any more questions too, definitely leave them in the chat. What do y'all like better? Do y'all like when I'm sitting at the laptop and kind of just, you know, explaining something in real detail, like in the last stream, or the meal prep streams? Like, which one is y'all favorite? I'm kind of curious which ones y'all like more. Because sometimes I just like to get up here and hang out with y'all and just chat and do some meal prep. Show y'all how I do it. And then sometimes we need to get down to brass tacks and get into a topic that's a little bit more complicated. All right, so that's 4 kiwis. You say you like both? Because I can do like a split where it's a mix of both. We'll be out here running through these bags. Do I eat rolled oats every day? I have been eating rolled oats every day. Uh, I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna put another kiwi in there. That's what I'm gonna do. I might as well too. So this is the 5th kiwi. So yeah, so basically I have been doing the rolled oats every day. On the current plan I'm on. So I'll start the day. My first meal will be like a gang of fruit. My first meal will probably, I got bananas. So my first meal is like around 6 to 8 bananas or so. And then the second meal is the overnight oats. And then the third meal is another fruit bag where it'll be like kiwis and tangerines and grapes and grapefruit and all that. Right? Or it'll be a bag like this with the kiwi and the melon and things like that. Right? And then my fourth meal has been red lentils. So I'll do like a red lentil soup and I'll put mushrooms and cashews and all of that in it. So that's what I've been doing. Sometimes I'll do a salad or I'll just cut up greens and put the greens in the red lentils. So I got spring mix and I'll chop that up and put it in with the red lentil soup. I feel like I can fit more in this bag, but that's fine, that'll do. So yeah, so basically we got a few of these here. So like this is I forgot what this is. So let me smell it. Okay, this is like this is a golden taco. What beans did I use for this? I think I used pinto beans. So I used pinto beans for that. But the reason why it's yellow is because of the turmeric. So I put like a teaspoon of turmeric in this and that's why it's yellow. But it's taco flavored. So I put nutritional yeast, turmeric, smoked paprika, cayenne pepper, sea salt, thyme, basil, a little bit of raw sugar in here, cumin, garlic, onion powder. What else did I put? I think that's about it. So like this will be what I have for the last meal tonight. And then I'll warm it up in a pan and I'll add like so this is kasha, right? So the kasha is almost done. Typically what I do is I fill up this with kasha, which is basically toasted buckwheat, and it absorbs the water and expands. And I'll use that over time. All right. Let's see if we can do this sweet potato. I think I got enough time to do it. I think I got enough time. So yeah, that's how I've been doing it. You just put it in the jar. You can mix them together. You put however much you want. So like that jar can be one meal, or it can be, you can use half one day and half another. Right? So you can do it that way. So you can make it in bulk. You can make a couple of them at a time. So there's different ways that you can do it. All right. So now, let's get some sweet potato going, right? So we're gonna weigh the sweet potato because I want to do roughly a pound of sweet potato. So this is 14 ounces. That's good enough. It's not exactly the 16 that I want, but we're a couple ounces short, but that's fine. It's all good. If you have time left, please discuss more about the kasha. And leaving it. Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, I'm gonna get into that. So we basically just gonna peel the Japanese yam, the pale sweet potato, all right. There we go. How did I do that, y'all? Did I do that good? Do I need to be faster? I feel like I'm kind of slow generally when it comes to like cutting and peeling and all of that. Some people do this stuff lightning fast. I don't have enough experience working in a kitchen in a professional setting, so I probably look clumsy. This is the tip, because I had dropped this sweet potato, and so the tip broke off. But we're gonna get the tip in there too. That's it. I feel like they're setting, I'm childish. We're gonna get the tip in. All right. So now from there, I like to thin slice it. The reason why I thin slice it like this is because it steams faster when you do it this way. Well, at least I feel like that's what happens. If you put thicker pieces in, it kind of takes a little bit longer. Or at least that's been my experience. Some people may say, oh, that's not necessarily true, but I don't know. My experience with it. So I like to thin slice it. So now, I've got my pot here, and then I have the steaming rack. So it's like this little steaming basket here. So I put it in the top. And then that goes on top, like that. All right. So I'm gonna put a little bit of water in the top. I'm not gonna fill this whole pot because I don't need to. And quite frankly, the more water I put in here, the longer it's gonna take to boil. So it's gonna take longer to steam. So I'm gonna fill this up a couple inches with water here. All right. So yeah, I just put like a couple inches of water in there. And then put that on top. And then boom, put the lid on, that's it. So typically it gets the job done within, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. It doesn't take long to steam. It steams pretty quick. And then in the meantime, we're gonna do the overnight oats. Well, you said you like in-depth, but I like to learn about volume of foods too. There we go. So look at that. We got an even split of both, right? The meal prep and the when I nerd out at the desk in the office. Because it's hard for me to explain like that really complicated, nuanced stuff while I'm making food because I'm distracted and preoccupied. And then I be getting roasted in the comments. How many times you gonna say right? Because I have a weird speech tick sometimes where I'll say right a lot. I don't do it all the time, but sometimes I do it. I don't really know what triggers me to do it. I use the word right as a period. So every time I make a statement, I end it with saying right, and people make fun of me for that. Y'all be brutal in the comments. I can't stand it. Maybe it's because I'm tired sometimes. So I'll use that. So I'll use the word right. I don't know. It's like this weird filler word. Matter of fact, have I been saying right a lot in this stream? I don't think I have because I've been actively trying not to do that. But I'm like, I'll be getting roasted in the comments. I'm like, oh, my speaking abilities are crumbling. All right, so hemp seeds. 4 tablespoons of hemp seeds. And then I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons of raw sugar. Oh, uh-oh. Kind of running low on the sugar here. So I just gotta be careful. I want to get this last tablespoon of the raw sugar here. There we go. Look at the dexterity. You see how I did that without spilling it all over the place? All right. I actually got to refill the raw sugar. Because I buy the raw sugar in bulk. So I got this here. Pardon my back. Just got a refill right here. All right. So that covers that. So now I got to do, where's my teaspoon? All right. Teaspoon of sea salt. Well, not sea salt, this is pink Himalayan salt. And burdock root powder. I'm a big fan of burdock root. Burdock root tea, burdock powder, burdock gang. And now I gotta do for my peanut flavor. We do powdered peanuts. I've always been like a hardcore peanut addict, even as a kid. I mean, I eat dry roasted peanuts, powdered peanuts. I used to do a lot of peanut butter, but I stopped doing all the peanut butter. Because I don't want to be getting all the excess fat in my diet. Because let me tell you something, you get me around some nut butter, I'll be eating spoonsfuls straight out of the jar. All right, I'll be eating. I will run through a jar of peanut butter like nobody's business. I've always been like that ever since I was a kid, going crazy on the peanut butter. All right, so we got the potatoes here are steaming. It's going. Just steaming. All right, so now I gotta put in, now we're gonna make it sweet. So now we're gonna put 2 drops. This is vanilla flavored liquid stevia. Sweet drops. And I'll blow your mind with this one. We're gonna do a little bit of agave nectar. Not a whole lot of it. I'm not gonna go crazy with it. Just a little bit. And then the rest, you're gonna slowly fill with milk. A little plant-based milk there. All right, Z, definitely enjoy your run. And yeah, the replay will be up so you can watch the last 20, 30 minutes of this. So that'll be up. And then I mix this up with a butter knife here and stir it up. Mix everything in nice and good because I want it to have be a little creamy. I don't want any powderiness in here. All right, that's that. And boom, that's done. So that'd be my post-workout meal. Boom. All right. So we got the fruit bags done. So now basically for me to check to see how done these the sweet potato is, I'm just gonna stick them with the fork. So they're starting to get there. But I'm probably going to give that a couple minutes. So it's almost done, but not quite. But as far as the kasha, let me get into the kasha. So with the kasha, this is real easy. All right, so I'm gonna show you what I do. So I got my kasha here. Let me just rinse this off right quick. And doing all of this will buy me some time for the sweet potato. Now I'm soaking the kasha for tomorrow, right? So the last of that that's in the fridge will get used today. And then the rest, and then I'll have the new batch, not the rest. I'll have the new batch for tomorrow. So I'm soaking the kasha today to use for tomorrow. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna soak about 4 ounces of it. All right. And 4 ounces, I think, will almost entirely fill up the jar. So that right there is about 4 ounces. Now this little bit here, well, this is 4.1 ounces. This little bit right here will fill up the jar to like right here. Right, so it'll fill it up to about here. This stuff expands to like 4 times its size. All right. And it's edible right out the gate. All you got to do is soak it. You don't really have to do much else to it. You can lightly cook it after you soak it, but you don't have to. So then basically with the sprouting jar, I rinse it. So you see how the water's a little cloudy? So I like to rinse it until the water's clear. And I'm using hot water too, because the hot water expands it a little faster. It's not hot water, more warm water. So now, that's the last rinse. I don't really think I have to do another one after that. So I fill it to like right around there. And that's that. And that's all you got to do. Let the water do its thing. And the potatoes should be ready now. Yep, so now the potatoes are soft. So the fork goes right through real easy. So now, let's move that off the burner. What if you make it with the kasha? What if I make what with the kasha? So now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the sweet potato in here. I think I cleaned this out last night. Yeah, Ms. D, what if I make what with the kasha? Usually I let this cool off for a longer period of time, but my fingers here. Actually, that's not gonna work. I'm working through it, y'all. My brain is working. Let my brain do its thing. All right. So let that drip dry a little bit. So I'm gonna put the plant-based milk in first. This is like a custard that would go inside a pie crust. All right, that's basically what this is. So we're gonna do 8 ounces of the milk in there. And because this is not really a meal for me, this is going to be more of like a treat. It's going to be more of like a dessert. So I'm actually going to make this with pea protein powder. So this would be like a high protein, high carb, creamy kind of deal here. So I'll put 2 scoops. Oh, you know what? I think I need pumpkin spice, don't I? Yeah, I do. Do we have any pumpkin spice? I either need cinnamon or pumpkin spice for this. Do we have it? Yes, we do. What nutritional value does kasha have? What are you making it with? Oh, so the kasha, it's actually a very rich source of copper, magnesium, manganese, B1, B2. What else? Good sources: zinc, magnesium. Yeah, those things primarily. It's really good for. As far as what I make it with, I pretty much will. There's a few things that I'll do with it. So like, I'll chop up greens like kale or something like that. So I'll get the pot, and I'll put the kasha in the pot, chop mushrooms or diced mushrooms, chop greens, diced bell pepper, diced onion, sunflower seed kernels, hemp seeds, and like crushed cashews, for example, right? And then I'll season it. Like I may do like a taco seasoning, or I'll do like what else would I season it with? I mainly do the taco seasoning, or maybe like a Cajun seasoning or something like this. And then I'll kind of lightly cook it down, and then I'll take the lentil sauce or the soup and I'll pour it on top. So that's one way example of how I would use it. Or I'll do like the lentil soup or like a chickpea curry stew or a chickpea curry soup, and I'll add a small amount of the kasha on top. All right. Then we do a teaspoon of sea salt. And then with this here, I'll do I'll do 1 teaspoon of raw sugar. I don't think I need to do 2 with this. I wouldn't do 2. That's probably a little too sweet. This is I'm not worried about it being too sweet because this is not like this is meant to be sweet. It's a treat. It's like a birthday treat. So I'll put 2. I'm not too worried about adding like sugar to things, generally speaking, because most of my diet is raw and sugary anyway. Right? There's not really many things I add sugar to. I only add sugar to the rolled oats and things like this, but I don't eat anything like this with any kind of frequency. All right. So we'll put that in there. And then for the vanilla flavoring, we'll put 2 drops of this in there. Because I'm like, what am I talking about? It's supposed to be sweet. Because I don't sweeten my teas and I don't really use sugar for anything else. Because I already have a sugary diet because of all the fruit and whatnot. So I like things to be a little sweet. And y'all notice I will put a little bit of agave also. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. All right. Where's the lid? There we go. Because I want it to taste like a dessert. It's supposed to taste like a pie, like a sweet pie. And then I've run it through the blender to make it creamy. You said allspice works as well. Absolutely. All right. Let me mute my mic right quick and then start the blender. All right, y'all. Yeah, also with the kasha, you can also do it as a breakfast cereal. That works too. So you can take the breakfast kasha, put it in a bowl, add plant-based milk, and you can add date paste, you can add date syrup, you can add agave, you can add raw sugar, sea salt, you can add hemp seeds to it. You could add crushed walnuts. You can add sliced almonds, things like that. You can have it as like a cereal. And then you can add berries, bananas, and things like that to it as well. So basically like a breakfast cereal in the morning. So you could do it that way also. So if you don't want to do like the rolled oats, a good alternative to the rolled oats, to the overnight oats, is you just do it using... Oh yeah. Here we go. Yeah, that's really good. Oh, yeah, that's good. So look, that took 20 minutes. It's really that easy. I'm gonna add a little bit more milk just to soften up the consistency a little bit. Not a whole lot. So I'm gonna run the blender one more time with the added milk. So give me a second. All right. So that's done. Oh man, I'm an idiot. You know what I didn't do? There was 2 slices of potato in. I can't believe I missed this. There's 2 slices of potato in here that was supposed to be. Oh wow. Can I add it in late? Can I do it? Can I add these 2? I might as well, right? Let me see if I can add those in. But now I feel like I gotta add. Let me see. I gotta run the blender again. Cause I gotta. I'm not leaving nothing out. All right. I'm gonna do one more. All right, let's see how well it's mixed in here. What's up, Boo Boo? You what? Where is it? It's not this. All right. Okay, it looks to be mixed in well. Yeah, that's real good. Can y'all see that, how creamy that is in there? All right. I know y'all gotta like get to work and all that. So I can understand if you gotta jump. But yeah, folks, like the stream if you like the stream. If you haven't hit that like button yet, go ahead and hit that smash down on that like button. It's creamy. It's creamy, y'all. This is gonna hit today. This is gonna hit. I don't think I'm having this today though. But I feel like I gotta do it. I don't know. I may have to double up on this week because it's real good. It's been a long time since I made this. Yeah, look at this. Look at that. Creaminess. I'm gonna have to get every last bit. Get every last bit. See, if you wanted to make like a pie or you had a pie crust, you could definitely do this. You don't have to do it with the pea protein powder either. I just like to add that in because I don't use flour. So basically that pea protein isolate, I use it as like a flour, right? So basically, as opposed to just using flour that's made from like a whole grain, well, I use the protein powder because it's made from peas. So instead of ground up whole grains, it's ground up and pulverized and powderized peas. More or less the same thing. The only difference is it's protein. All right. So I wiggle it like that. So that's what I got in there. And that be that. Can I get any more out of here? Yeah, I think that's it. That is it. And that's all, folks. So we got the fruit bowls. We did the rolled oats. We did the sweet potato souffle with the cantaloupe and the kiwis. We got a lot done for meal prep here. So appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with me in the kitchen. So for those of you who want recipes, high roll vegan diet plans, member exclusive live streams, all that good stuff, become a Tribe by Noir member. Link is in the description of this video. If you want to book a call with me, you can also book a call with me. Or sign up for a 12-week personalized coaching. All right, so those are the options there. All of that is in the link, or there are links to all those things in the description of this video. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon.